Good evening. The Concord Township Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for February 11, 2026 is now in session. I would like to introduce my board. To my left is Brian Falkowski. I'm Ivan Valentik. To my right is Davey Rowan. And to our far right is Heather Freeman, our zoning inspector. Under the advice of our legal counsel, we ask that anyone that is speaking tonight must be sworn in. If you plan on speaking, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God? If so, say I do.
I do.
All right, thank you. Please be seated. This evening, when presenting your case or making any comments, please come to the microphone and be sure to state your name and address and confirm you've been sworn in. Heather, were the legal notices published in a timely manner?
Yes, they were.
Okay, great, thank you. We have three variance appeals tonight. A 3-vote majority is required to either approve or deny that variance. So you're aware, since we are missing members of the board, we don't have 5 members, we only have 3 tonight, so you would need all 3 of us to vote in favor of your appeal or your variance appeal. Or if you wish, you could table your variance till next month, and when we have a full board, hopefully next month, to address your appeal. So as we get to each case, we'll be able to make that decision, okay? All right. First is variance application 2026-185. Stephen Ross is requesting a variance from section 15.04B to permit a garage addition to be located with a 6-foot side yard clearance in lieu with a minimum 15-foot required. This is for the property located at 6369 Ledge Lake Court, also known as parcel number 08-A-11-C-00-023-0. Mr. Ross, could you come up real quick? And Heather's going to give us a little bit of a summary, but before we do that, I just want to confirm that you would want to move forward tonight, or would you like to postpone to next month?
I think that we can do this tonight.
Okay.
I think I hope things will go correctly. So
Okay.
Yeah, I want to move forward.
Okay, great, thank you. Heather, can you just give us a quick summary on this
Sure,
one?
yeah. Brian, I just have a couple slides up here real quick. So the subject property is located on the north side of Ledge Lake Court. You can see the image there on the right with the parcel outlined in red and a street view image from the street. Ledge Lake Court is located off of Painesville Ravenna Road. The property is zoned R1 residential and is approximately 0.64 acres. It's currently developed with a single-family dwelling that has an attached 2-car garage, which was constructed in 1977. As proposed, the applicant is requesting to construct an addition onto the existing garage. It would be 16 foot wide by 24 feet deep to add an additional garage bay. As proposed, the addition will be about 6 feet from the east side property line, 80 feet from the west property line, 127 feet from the north property line, and 87 feet from the front lot line.
Thank you, Heather.
I think I had one other. Oh, here we go. Just a quick, the site plan showing again the proposed addition in yellow there, orange, and then just a rendering, a sketch of what the attached garage would look like with the existing and the addition, if constructed.
Okay, so just a quick question or two from me at least to start. So when you say the siding and the roofing will be completely redone, are you talking the entire house wrapping around?
Yes. So if I may, I had a neighboring tree strike my house on August 17th of last year. These plans for the garage were previously an idea. How financially I couldn't do it, but now since I'm getting a free roof pretty much from the insurance and siding, now is the time to do it if I'm going to do it. So the siding's going to match, the roof's going to match. I had half of my roof already finished, and then the lower half above the current 2-car garage has not been done yet, pending the outcome of this. So.
Okay. I apologize. I should have gave you the floor first. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, just a couple things. Pretty much how it started was, like I explained, it's been an idea since I moved in. However, I had 2 kids. Financially, I couldn't do it. Now, now is the time to do it, like I explained. The property restraints, like Heather here explained, was kind of difficult to put an addition on the house. My property does back out to a pond, so if I were to go further back and wrap around the house, it would be extremely difficult, and I would actually think after a decade or two, the land would actually go into the pond. So other than that, the main purpose of this addition is more so for privacy. I didn't know this was going to be streamed, but I'm in law enforcement. I have a vehicle that I do take home, and when my vehicle's not there, people know that I'm not there. So that's really like a safety and privacy issue for me and my wife. So typically if I'm home, people know I'm home. When I'm not home, they know I'm not home. So that's really what this comes down to, is the privacy and security. And obviously I would like a nice garage. And then again, I'm on call 24 hours a day, so my car is usually outside covered in snow, and if I have to respond to something here in Concord or our patrol zone here, then it's going to take a minute for me to get there because I have snow in my car. So stuff like that. So I did receive a letter from my neighbor that's going to be butting up into. They are totally okay with it. They actually were really positive because it's going to give them more privacy as well. And after the letters got sent out to the other neighbors, I also received 2 more text messages from the neighbor next to me on the west side, and one on the lower cul-de-sac also saying, hey, we also approve of it. And there is another house on the street that does have an addition on their garage. So I don't think it's going to impact the neighborhood. If anything, it's going to make it look great.
Yeah, I think it'll, the fact that you're tying it all together, I think is great. Getting a letter from the neighbor, I mean, that's something we look for,
Okay.
To see if they're on board with it. There's still a pretty good separation between the properties, it feels like, and there's an elevation change there as well. So, I don't have any other questions. Do you guys?
No questions.
No, I'm good.
Okay, you can be seated.
Okay, thanks.
Is there anyone else speaking for or against this appeal that'd like to come up? Okay, if there's no further questions, a public hearing for application 2026-185 is now closed to the public. Can I get a motion to approve the variance application?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
I think you hit the high points. It's a pretty high quality project. The roof, the siding, everything's going to match. I think it keeps with the character of the neighborhood. I think it's a great project.
And to everything you said, plus the neighbor.
Oh,
being
the
on
neighbor
board
too.
is-
Yeah.
Yeah. That's always nice.
Yeah, it always helps.
That
So,
helps, yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
I like it.
All right, I have nothing else to add, so I think it's a great opportunity for the neighborhood and for the property owner. So the question is on the approval of application 2026-185. A yes vote will approve the variance request, a no vote will deny it. Heather, please call the vote.
Mr. Falkowski,
Yes.
Mr. Rowan,
Yes.
Mr. Valenza.
Yes, your variance has been approved. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, next is variance application 2026-186. Michael Austin Rice is requesting a variance from section 6.01B to D to allow the construction for an additional accessory building dedicated to an agricultural use, which would cause the combined square footage of accessory buildings to be 1,160 square feet in lieu of the combined maximum 1,024 square feet permitted. This is for the property located at 10385 Revere Court, also known as parcel number 08-A-0-3-R-00-015-0. Mr. Rice, could you please come up? Good evening.
Good evening.
Have you been sworn in?
Yes.
And could you state your name and address for the record?
Sure, Michael Austin Rice, 10385 Revere Court.
And I just wanted to confirm, would you like to move forward with the case with the 3-person board this evening?
Sure.
Okay. Heather, can you give us a little summary on this one as well?
Sure. So the property is located on the north side of Revere Court, located off of Coleridge Road. The property is zoned R1 residential and is approximately .617 acres. Currently has a single-family dwelling on it with an attached garage that was built in 1974. There's an above-ground pool with a deck and a detached accessory building that was constructed in 2022. The images on the screen here are street view from the road, and then the GIS map with the parcel approximate lot lines outlined in red there. As proposed, the applicant is requesting to construct a 200 square foot accessory building that will be used for an agricultural use. However, when combined with the existing 960 square foot other detached accessory building, the total square footage is 1,160 square feet, where the resolution only allows 1,024 square feet. The proposed shed will be located about 13 feet from the west property line, 113 feet from the east property line, 45 feet from the rear property line, and 170 feet from the front property line. And this is just a rendering of what the shed may look like.
And it's intended to be tucked behind
Yes, let the applicant explain that further, but yes, its proposed location will be behind the existing garage, detached garage.
Okay. Any other questions for Heather? No? Mr. Rice, walk us through your request, please.
Sure. As she stated, this is basically an area variance for 136 square feet above the limit of 1,024 square feet. And I assume you all got my packet of information that you can all read, so I'm not going to read it word for word. However, I am going to go through the Duncan factors because that's what, from what I understand, is supposed to be considered in this case. I didn't really know too much about zoning until very recently. So the reasonable return, I'll start back a little bit. So the reason I'm looking to do a separate accessory building for agricultural purposes, for gardening primarily, is, I've been gardening for pretty much my whole life. Used to garden with my grandfather for, acres of gardens. So we had a garden at our previous residence until we just moved here. We moved here about a year and 2 months or so ago, about a week before Christmas in 2024. So that was that was a very convenient move time. That being said, we had gardened at our previous residence, and we had a shed there, which actually was not sufficient in its own size, but storage of, tools, fertilizer, gas, lime, you name it. So we didn't want to store this into the current large garage-like structure that was back there. So we're using that primarily for office space, the kids play in there, storage of decorations, etc. We wanted that in a separate facility that was better for, it wouldn't be hazardous for the kids or in my office space, etc. So here is the Duncan factors. Reasonable return. Will the property yield reasonable return if the variance, with or without it? And yes, the property will be beneficial and provide a reasonable return with or without the variance, really. However, granting the variance would increase the reasonable return and increase the beneficial use of the property. Of course, we've been storing a lot of these materials outside currently because I've only had one season to basically be at the residence, and I've had a lot of projects to update and upkeep since the past owner. So there are things stored outside right now. They can be stored outside, but that would actually probably lower the value ultimately of the property. The substantial variance, is this a substantial variance request? I would say no, it's only 136 square feet above the current threshold. There are several other properties in the neighborhood naturally that have, of course, more than 2 accessory buildings based on what I consider my neighborhood, about 65 lots. And many of those, at least 5 that I could see easily, are well in excess of the allotted 1,024 square feet. So this isn't, I don't think, a substantial variance request. Character of the neighborhood, I do not believe that this would in any way hinder the character of the neighborhood, make the neighbors suffer in any way. Of course, as you saw on the map, this would be tucked behind the current building anyways, so Ironically, if I wouldn't have even brought it up, most people wouldn't even know it was there, except for aerial footage potentially. Other than that, people wouldn't even know that it's there, maybe. But also, in addition to that, as I pointed out, there's at least a dozen that I could quickly identify, parcels in my neighborhood that have at least 2 or more accessory buildings. So having different buildings shouldn't take away from the essence of the neighborhood. And of course, there's already facilities that are in excess of the square foot limit, so it's not like that would be out of the ordinary either in the neighborhood. Of course, again, if things are stored outside, materials, piles of things, etc., that might be an eyesore or take away from the neighborhood. Government services, will the variance adversely affect the delivery of governmental services? That's obviously no. There's no utilities involved at all. No utilities will go to the shed, or it won't interfere with utilities, fire, road, police, etc. So the knowledge of restriction, did the property owner purchase the property with knowledge of the zoning restrictions? No, I did not know this restriction upon purchasing the property. In fact, one thing we wanted to do when we purchased the property was to put a shed on the property, specifically because, like I said, in our previous property, we had a shed that we had all of our materials in, and it wasn't even sufficient in its own size. So we were going to put a shed on this property anyways. I didn't really know much about zoning at all before this process, but I generally always try to do the right thing and do my due diligence. So I figured, before I start making plans, because it's winter, I'm planning for my next season of outdoor projects, and I figured, let me check the building department. Maybe there's a permit or something I need. So I went to the county. Of course, I didn't think there'd be anything required, and there isn't for 200 square feet or less of a structure. And then I thought, you know what? I'm actually in Concord Township now, because I was in Painesville Township before. I'm right on the edge. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm here now. Let me check here. So that's when I discovered all the new zoning, the whole zoning code here. So no, the answer is no, I did not know before purchasing the property. Feasible alternatives. There are alternatives. I don't think they're feasible. Again, our previous house had a 10 by 12 shed, and that wasn't large enough for what we were using it for. And so a smaller shed would not be feasible. Storing the tools, the materials, all the things that was mentioned previously, I don't think it would be feasible to store them in the current outbuilding. The kids can't play in there then because of all the tools and machines and all the fertilizers and lime, etc. It would interfere with our current storage of decorations, etc. The office space, it's not feasible to store it in there, and also it would not be feasible to store this outside either. That is an eyesore. It would also be hazardous to the environment, potentially any animals in the area, and of course, again, the kids and any visitors, it would be potentially hazardous if they got into that. It would not be safe storage. The last issue for the Duncan factors is self-created hardship. It's actually a two-part thing. The variance, if approved, would that preserve the spirit and intent of the zoning resolution? The second part is a substantial justice portion. So the spirit and intent, of course, per the ORC, which is followed here naturally, it has to be, the intent of the law is to grant and enable residents the ability to do agriculture on their properties. So the denial of the variance would in fact inhibit my ability to follow the lawful exercise of agriculture on my property. It would make it more challenging. The law protects generally, the way I see it, people, property, and community, and this would do all of those things, or be in line with those. So the second point is a substantial justice, and I believe it would be a substantial injustice if this variance were to be denied due to other structures in the neighborhood exceeding both the quantity of accessory buildings already and the square footage that are already in the neighborhood. The general argument here is, why would I be denied something that is permitted for others currently? So I did some extra research on additional properties in my neighborhood, and an example variance that I did find of the few that there were, a lot of these places didn't even have a variance, but regardless, the one I did find that was very specifically applicable was in 2020, I do have it here, the request was for a 1,200 square foot building. This is a few parcels away from me, in lieu of that 124 maximum. And that was actually, ironically, the second building that they had, so this is a total of 1,400 some square feet. So obviously the board has approved these variances in the past, so I guess that's my main argument. Why would this be denied if it has been permitted in the past? But yeah, that's my basic statement, and I thank you for hearing my case.
Yeah, and just really quick, Mr. Royce, when
Sure.
we look at those other cases, there's a lot of factors that come into play,
Yes.
so it's never an apples to apples comparison. We never really say, well, we proved this before, so we're gonna approve it again. So
I
we
understand.
look at each case separately, but I appreciate the thorough, explanation of the variance appeal.
Sure.
My first question is on how large of a garden did you build, or are you planning on building?
This would be planning. I have some gardening and some vegetables there right now, in more than a half a dozen various boxes and such. But that was kind of a thrown together thing, just so we had something for this past year. Like I said, this is our first season there. I'm planning on clearing out that back corner. Well, the map's not up there anymore, but that back corner I was planning on clearing out and having more of a large garden area back there. But the previous resident, amongst many things, has left a lot of piles of just random stuff. So I'm still clearing out the area back there, but I'm looking for a substantially sized garden.
Can I get a number when you say substantial? Is it 10 or is it? I think.
It probably 10 by 20 or so. I'd like a maybe even bigger. I haven't measured out the area. I'm just focused on cleaning out the area, so I can, build up the beds or the areas I want. Primarily fruits and vegetables. At least that's what we'd start with if you're really interested in that. And I would probably start with vegetables until I cleared out areas, and I'd like a few fruit trees or bushes as well. But I have to kind of still clear out the area. That's part of my good weather projects for this year.
And then are you, when you say agriculture use, and
Sure.
are you planning on selling those like vegetables, or are these all just for?
I wasn't intending on selling them. I believe, according to the ORC, I can sell them locally, but I was not intending on doing that. It's just for our use, our family's use, of course, friends and people as well.
Okay.
Sometimes because it depends, because some years, you get a lot more or not, depending on how the year goes. This last year was kind of brutal in many regards, but if we have excess, then, I'll take it to church or to extended people, but usually we just keep it for ourselves.
Okay.
So that was one of my questions, was about the agricultural use of this versus just being a storage shed for personal use.
Yeah. So to add to that question.
Sorry to take on.
No.
No.
You're good. So I agree. So when you say, we're building a garden,
Sure.
fruits and vegetables, starting with vegetables for
Yeah.
you and the family.
Yeah.
We need a shed to put equipment in.
Yeah.
Well, can you go through more detail? What's the stuff that's in there that you're
Sure.
storing in there?
Sure. So obviously there is, we would have some types of dirts and stuff as well, but there's fertilizer, there's lime. There are some machines as well as hand tool type things. Obviously your lawnmowers and basic things like that. I would, depending on how large I'm able to get, I might have to get a rototiller of some kind as well for, get how bad the soil is or depending or not. But all those things, of course, which would require oil and gas and such as well. Tools to maintain those things, but a lot of hand tools as well, rakes and shovels, etc. I also have a large collection of earth boxes, which are kind of like pot type boxes, and which also has an irrigation system. And that stuff I don't want to keep out, obviously, all year round, because I don't want things to be frozen and broken. Those are some examples.
So bikes, kids' toys,
No.
all that stuff's gonna go in that other building?
Yeah, it would either go in that other building or maybe some of it's in the garage too right now. Some things are disorganized still from the move, but
Oh yeah, you have a garage and that building.
yeah,
Yeah, and so,
yeah.
okay.
The garage, we can't fit both vehicles in the garage right now, but it doesn't matter.
Ryan, anything else on your?
No.
Yeah, it just, if it's just for gardening, it doesn't, I don't know. If it needs to be 10 by 12, I didn't hear anything that it, because if it was 8 by 8, or you're going 10 by 20.
10 by 20, yes,
10
that's
by 20.
correct.
I mean, that's, yeah. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, we had the 10 by 12 before, and that wasn't sufficient, so,
And in that 10 by 12, you only kept gardening tools in there?
yeah,
Gardening equipment?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just struggling with the size. Obviously going 10 by 20, 10 by 12, you're under, right?
No,
I don't think 10 by
no.
12
You'd have to go 8 by 8.
Yeah, so whether you're
Yeah.
100 and
Yeah, I think that would be a waste to
6,
build something that small.
yeah,
that
you could
point.
do 10 by 10, right? So you'd actually have to be less than 10 by 12.
Mm-hmm. How big's that existing garage that you have? You said that I
That
know.
back building is,
Yeah.
I think, 960 square feet.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I don't have any other questions before I close the meeting, or open up to the rest of the public. Anything from the board?
I think I have a question for Heather. Is it because it's considered an agricultural use? Is this lot size, does it allow for 2 accessory buildings, or I guess I'm trying to understand, like.
It would
there's-
only permit an additional accessory building if it was incidental to an agricultural use.
Gotcha, and so that's what we're.
And his
Okay.
zoning permit application that was submitted indicated that it was going to be incidental to his agricultural use,
Gotcha.
which he defined to be fruit and vegetables garden. Yeah, and had it been combined with the existing square footage, the 960, and say this was an 8 by 8, we would have approved it as for an agricultural use. But because he's over the maximum combined square footage that's permitted in section 60,
So I guess.
601B.
A follow-up would be, if somehow somebody ever found that this were no longer an agricultural use, is that considered then a violation?
Well, with any building, if you're going to change the use of it, they should come back to the township and reapply, yeah. So I know, I don't know how that gets
Yeah.
translated over to future landowners, right? But-
Right, and
Yeah.
again, it's a hypothetical. I'm just trying to make sure that let's say we do approve this, it's agriculture use.
Mhm.
If there were a change, you'd have to come back, or the new owner would have to come back and get that variance, or,
Right.
however we're found out.
Mhm.
And so I'm just making sure that, like, hey, we're approving this, but also, like, if things change, that means you need to come back, or somebody would have to come back. That it's not, really we're approving it for agricultural use. If something were to change, then, there would be, potential for violations, or, if whomever didn't come to the board and they were found out.
Well, right, and I think that under the zoning resolution, section 11, what requires a zoning permit, a change of use of an existing building does require a zoning
Okay.
permit, so, yeah, I think it's covered there.
Thank you.
You could also, just suggesting or stating that you could condition this, that it is obviously incidental to the agriculture, it's based on the use. If that makes you more comfortable, and of course, if he agrees.
So how
In other words, so just so
Just
that
to-
it's just reiterating that if there is a change of the agricultural
Yeah, no,
use, something that is not agriculture, that the variance
so then
really does not.
we would check with the applicant, and then we would make a motion to, I'm trying to remember how we do. It's
Right.
We
With the
would just
condition.
modify the motion that said, if the applicant agreed that if there's a change in, that it's only approved for agricultural use.
Correct.
That's
Kinda like
that's
what
what I'm,
you-
that's what I'm
kinda
requesting
stated.
for.
Yeah, so
Correct.
I guess what will happen is we'll make a motion to approve it with the understanding that you agree that it is purely for agricultural use, and then that way it's in the record. If there's a change, and if there's a change, that you'll come back to the board and
Sure.
reapply.
Yeah. That's what I was submitting
Yeah,
for
yeah,
it.
no,
so-
it's really just,
And
kind of
if you
reiterating
want it written
it
down,
and-
that's fine.
Yeah, it's really just reiterating it and, basically getting it in the record. And
Sure.
so I think with that, I feel more comfortable personally, so.
Okay. I don't know if it, are you okay if we add that stipulation? I don't know if it changes anything.
That's fine to me, that's why I'm requesting it, so.
You good?
Yep.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Any other questions?
That's all I have.
Nope.
No. All right. Thank you. You can be seated.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else speaking for or against this appeal this evening that'd like to come up? If there's no further questions, public hearing for variance application 2026-186 is now closed to the public. Can I get a motion to approve variance application 2026-186 with the stipulation that the shed structure will only be used for agricultural use going forward by the applicant?
So moved.
Second?
All right, discussion? Anything?
I mean, applicant is right, it's a case-by-case basis. We look at different situations, there are other ones that have been approved. For me, I think reiterating that it's for agriculture, again, if it were ever to change, they would need to come in and reapply. Otherwise, there are penalties that can be applied. So I think in this case, I'm for this.
Brian, any thoughts?
I'm a little conflicted, but with the change in the motion, that gives me a little bit more comfort.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a little conflicted on this one. He has a garage out the house. He's got a very large accessory building already. I mean, you could do things to block it off to protect it, So what I don't agree with, there's plenty of other feasible solutions, or adding an 8x8, but overall, it's not a very large request, It's not gonna, it is behind that other building, so it'll be, hidden for the most part.
Right.
So that's kind of where I was coming down. It's hidden by the other one. In the grand scheme of a variance, it's not, I don't think, anything overly substantial. Do I think there were other solutions? I do think there were probably some other solutions.
Yeah. Okay. Good. All right, there's no further discussions. The question is on the approval of variance application 2026-186. A yes vote will approve it, no vote denies it. Heather, please call the vote.
Mr. Rowan?
Yes.
Mr. Valensik?
Yes,
Mr. Falkowski?
Yes.
variance was approved. All right. Next on the agenda is variance application 2026-187. George Kopervinick.
Close enough.
Okay, sorry about that. Is requesting a variance from section 15.04B to permit an accessory building to be located with a 31-foot front building setback in lieu of the minimum 50-foot required. Second variance is requested from section 15.03A7 to allow for more than one detached accessory building to be located on a lot less than 2 acres in lieu of the maximum of 1 permitted. This is for the property located at 6295 Conley Road, also known as parcel number 08-A-010-0-0-063-0. Please come up. Thank you. Please, for the record, confirm your name, that you've been sworn in, and
Sure.
your address.
My name is George Kabrivnek. I have been sworn in, and my address is 6295 Conley Road.
Before we get to Heather, would you like to move forward with the 3-person board, or would you like to be tabled till next month?
No, I'm okay with moving forward.
Okay. Heather, can you give us a little bit of a summary?
Sure. Okay, the subject property is located on the east side of Conley Road, located off of Painesville, Warren. It's zoned R4 residential and is approximately 1 acre. See the GIS map with the approximate lot lines located in red there on the right, and then a street view image of the property. It's currently developed with a single-family dwelling with an attached garage that was built in 2005, and there's a 96 square foot detached accessory building on the property as well. As proposed, the applicant is requesting permission to construct a new 672 square foot detached accessory building, which would be in excess of the one permitted. The proposed garage will be located about 31 feet from the front property line, 57 feet from the west side lot line, 12 feet from the east side lot line, and 341 feet from the rear lot line. And I think I have another slide here. There's just another kind of site plan showing the proposed location. The applicant has indicated that the garage will be about 66 feet forward of the existing house. That's how we got the setback dimension, and on the right is an elevation of the proposed garage.
Okay. You want to walk us through your application a little bit?
Sure. So I submitted my letter kind of identifying the issues with the property, and as you can see from the pictures of where the house lays, it's very difficult to go wider on the garage based off of neighboring property. Going back from that, you can see from the aerial picture, there's a lot of wooded area that makes it difficult to go back from that space. So looking to go even behind it to add an additional building, I run into problems with leach field and other trees that are growing in the area. There's a curtain drain that drains off that blocks going in from the north side of the property. So anything behind the property is very challenging from that standpoint. In front of the property, you can see from the view, from the street view, that there is a large mound of dirt that kind of builds up to that, and that section of the property is parceled off. That it's really unusable space from where the driveway cuts up into the property, and that's where I'm looking to place the garage.
So I went and drove by, and you're right, it's the picture's deceiving, it does mound up. So my question is though, there's a lot of trees in there, so are you planning on clearing?
Not all of it, no. I would try and clear off just enough to place the garage into that space.
But with it kind of going up like that, it seems like there's going to be a decent amount of earthwork there. Has that been anticipated?
I don't think it'll take a lot from where I'm looking to place it, because that area in the property kind of levels off versus closer to the road, which is really mounted up.
The distance from the house, how did you get to that 66 feet? Because it's pretty far from the house, and it's quite honestly fairly, I went and drove down the street. That was one of the things I wanted to look at, was the character of the neighborhood in the street. There's a few houses are closer, they're not 30 feet from the road, but most of the houses feels like are pretty far set off of the road.
Correct, and a lot of them have much larger parcels of land to work with.
Yeah.
My property was actually, I understand, parceled out from the neighbor that I have to the north of me. They have close to 10 acres of land, and they had originally parceled that out for their daughter. And for her to build a house, she moved, they sold the land that they had already sectioned out, and that's where the previous owner had built the property.
Okay. I mean, could you consider, it seems like there's room to move it closer to the house.
I can do that, yeah. I'm not opposed to moving it further off of the road. I just want to make sure that I was off some distance from the road. So comfortable with moving it further back closer to the house.
Because that's your variance request, is how close you're putting it to the road. Looking at the image of the garage, so the side that's facing the road is just a blank white. I'm assuming it's going to be white, right, to match the
White to match the house, and probably a window in it, I believe, is what the rendering had shown.
Okay. Yeah, I missed that.
So,
Yeah, I don't
to
see
move it
the
closer,
window.
it's what, 90, it's like 97 feet between the house and the road right now. Or I guess,
Well, it's not the road. The setback is off the right of way.
right, so it's, right now it's 31 feet.
From the right of way,
from the right of way. And it needs to be 50.
correct.
So if you were to move it 19 feet or 20 feet, you're within the,
Then he wouldn't need to be here though.
right.
Right.
This is a unique lot because there's a 50-foot front yard setback, but the house is set much further back. So that's why you're allowed to build a garage in your front yard, essentially, right?
And then there's the second variance to allow for the second building.
Yeah, for the
Gotcha.
said that's the
Gotcha.
second
So-
variance. Yeah.
So if he's,
So the first building, just to go ahead. Do you have a question?
no, I was just gonna say, so if he's within, or if he's outside of that 50 feet, we don't even need this variance.
Yes, you would only need one variance.
Okay. And I guess I don't know if you have the room to,
I don't know if I could go that far based off the way that the driveway is there today, because it's what shows 60 feet from the, or it's 30 feet off the right of way, and then 63 feet from there to the, 66 feet is what it has on the drawing. So if I took 20 feet off of that, that would put me into my driveway probably closely.
So here, I guess I have another follow-up question on this. What I'm struggling with, again, a little bit with this, like you don't show what happens with the driveway. So what's the plan for the driveway? Like I know it kind of does this
That is like an
snake
S-curve.
thing.
Yes.
Yeah, this
So
S-curve.
the idea would be to add on that basically the door would come it would be facing north, and that would feed into the driveway. So if you're looking at the drawing where the garage would be, this would actually come right into the driveway, would be my expectation.
See, the one thing that's kind of interesting, on the picture you're looking at there, it looks like there would be,
This is mine.
that's yours?
Yeah.
All right, because to me, it looks like there would be a substantial change, but then on the one I'm looking at, it looks like it just kind of
Yeah.
connects in. Is yours more to scale?
Oh, this was, so I went to the county GIS and sketched something on there to a scale. That's what I was struggling with.
Because on yours, it looks like there's more capacity to move it up. Where on this one, I'm going, it's gonna cut into the driveway and encroach the garage at some point.
Right. And, I mean, the sketch that's provided is a sketch. It's not done by, an engineer or surveyor.
Right.
So I don't know if it is, I don't even know what scale it was at, but I think what's a little deceiving is it's a 10-foot side yard setback, right?
Yes.
But you said it 12 feet off of that side yard?
Yeah, I think that's what we would plan for.
Yeah. So I think that's what throws off that sketch is if this is 24 feet wide, you know what I mean? I think it's back further.
Right, okay.
I think. That's my,
And I don't know if it helps too, I did take some pictures tonight before I came to kind of show the view from up the driveway, so it gives a little bit different perspective because of the way that the slope changes so significantly.
yeah, I was trying to see from the road if it was staked or anything, if you put any corners, but I didn't see anything out in the yard.
No,
It was it's so hard to see because of the way,
the land slopes because of
Yeah.
the drainage along that area.
yeah.
I also did talk to the neighbor to the north that owns the property back from me now. They also said that they had no issue with it, and the person to the south I had contact, they had done an addition onto their house this summer and consulted with them about using them to build the garage, and they were in support of it as well.
yeah, I mean, it's a unique property, a unique situation in that sense. Like I said, if you could just move it, if the driveway weren't there, if you could reroute the driveway,
Yeah.
but obviously that's not feasible.
And adding on to the additional one would be great too, but
Yeah.
it's very challenging from that standpoint.
Yeah, what you said in the beginning is correct. You can't put it in the back. You have the septic system, great issues. You can't put it on the side. I understand. I agree. There's not enough room. you're lucky in one sense that your house is set so far back that you can put it in the front. You know, that's a unique situation. It's just what with this, I'm struggling with this, how far, 50-foot setback, and you're asking for a 31-foot setback is, I don't know, I didn't do the percentage on that, but it feels, just visually feels substantial to me.
What- And again, we can't measure, exactly, but, I mean, would you guys feel more comfortable with a 40-foot setback versus 31, if it's feasible? I mean, we're speculating here.
Well, I think every foot that it moves closer back is a better outcome.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry, that was an obvious statement.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I guess the other question I have too is, so what's going in this garage? So we do have two variances we want to consider.
Sure.
The second one would being, having the two structures. What's the focus for this? Because I did see a car outside of the garage.
Yeah, there's actually 2 cars that are parked outside of the garage, and the hope is to put them into this additional garage if I build it.
Okay.
So currently have 5 vehicles at the property, and the hope is to get 2 of them that are permanently parked there into the garage.
Okay. Okay. So you're parking already in the garage, 2 of them?
I have 2 vehicles in the garage, and then I have additional 3 vehicles
Yeah.
that are outside.
Okay, I get it. And then the shed would just be used for
Lawn equipment.
agriculture use? I'm just
Correct.
kidding.
It's fair. Yeah, no, it's lawnmower and
Yeah.
car, so.
Yeah. Okay. Any thoughts, Brian? On your end?
No, I think I'm good with questions.
And I guess my question to the board would be, how do we approve this? We either approve it as is, or if we're saying, hey, can we move it back, that the applicant would have to be okay with that, but then we don't know, what's possible. So, I'm trying to see where you guys are in that regard. I mean, is it 31 okay, or is it?
I'm mixed. I'm struggling with the 31. I mean, there are some trees that I'm hoping would be left.
Yeah, so everything along the front of the perimeter of the property, I do not want to touch.
Yeah, I understand you're saying that, but I just feel like there's a decent amount of grading in there. When you go to set this thing, someone's building this, they're gonna need like 10 feet off of that building at least, or 15 feet to build this and pour a foundation and make sure the water's sloping away from there.
Mhm.
So, the building will be 31 feet back, but then the impact will be, another, 15 feet, and gets you pretty close to the road.
Right.
It's a very nice street, a lot of nice houses on there, and, it's just this white facade along the road there.
So did you say you were gonna put in a window facing the street?
Yes.
I didn't see that in the sketch here.
Definitely would be putting a window facing the street.
Maybe we can make that a condition. And those stone, it's all just vinyl, right?
Correct.
And the shingles will match the house.
Correct.
I would defer to our legal counsel for a question if it's all right. So if we were to say, request if he'd accept like a 40-foot setback, is that something we could propose? I'm not sure if we can, that's why I'm asking.
I was almost thinking it would be better to almost deny this variance, and then he can do a new variance. I don't know what makes sense, and then reapply as a 40-foot setback. I don't know what the easiest, and again, I want to make it easy on the applicant too.
Right. But it sounds like a 31-foot setback might not pass.
It might not. It may or may not, yes.
And that's what's before you. So prior to that vote, if the applicant wishes to withdraw and come back and amend, possibly could do that, because then, then it's not before you, haven't voted. But, what's before you is the 31 foot, so. if the applicant wants you to move forward on the 31 foot, it's, you know, it's that. And it sounds like I don't know, has he been asked whether or not to move it back? Would he like to amend his plans, revise his plans?
Oh, we've alluded to, we have not specifically asked him
Right.
that. Yeah,
Right.
but if he were to, that would be the procedure to table it, or he would,
I would think he would have to withdraw.
Withdraw.
And come back to, you know,
With a new
with a
application.
different application unless you were to vote on this tonight.
Okay,
Which is, again, what's before you is the 31-foot plan.
okay.
I mean, at the end of the day, you know, if you go through the Duncan factors and if you feel that the variance, you know, there's a practical difficulty, then you would have to vote, you know, however you can according to those factors. But if you're proposing a different, you know, hypothetical, I would say that's probably not proper.
Okay.
So,
One of the more interesting things you brought up was that even with the setback, the amount of area that you would have to clear around the structure for grading and whatnot, it's not like just that square feet's getting cleared.
Yeah.
So
I
that
know.
does take down trees, etc.
And I understand, and I see the pickle you're in, you know. It's a tough property. It really is a tough property. It's gonna be tough to build the garage in the front yard even, but that's the only, you know, place he has. It's a matter of, you know,
I agree with that. That is the only general location that it can go in.
so let's say hypothetically we were leaning towards approving and can't require, but say, you know, hey, try to, you know, instead of 31, you know, 35, you know, or, you know, squeeze as much back as you can, but, you know, if you have to, there's no requirement, you're approved for 31.
yeah, we can't.
It's just a kind of
I mean, the only thing we could,
recommendation, but
the only thing we could
binding.
put this forward as is and add, if he agrees to the modifications of adding the window, you know, to kind of dress up that side, maybe requesting some landscaping to soften it, you know, to offset the trees that are removed, and vote. Or, you know, or leave it to him, to the applicant to decide if he wants to withdraw and come back with a new application, or let us vote the way we see it.
I'm open to all possibilities right now. I'm trying to, you know, make it so that it works for everybody.
Yeah, I think it's kind of in the applicant's hands at this point.
Yeah. So, I guess, I mean, what are your feelings? Would you like to would you want to move forward this evening and maybe we add some stipulations and vote and see how it lands? Or would you like to withdraw the application and revisit it and see if you know, want to potentially adjust the location a little bit more, spend some time thinking about it? Or you feel like you pretty much think that's the right spot?
I don't have any problem with moving back, like, if 35 feet makes it more agreeable, no problem, and I have no problem with, I will add the window, I will put in landscaping if I need to dress it up, that does not bother me at all, so putting those stipulations into the,
So we can't say that it'll pass? You know, we can't tell you that that's what will happen.
Sure.
I think, like,
Am I allowed to amend my application currently?
You are. The problem is that we don't have a revised site plan showing where it is and the
Okay.
footage. You know, what we have is, yeah, so it would be kind of estimated. So I mean, the point, if you really wanted to amend and revise, my
Withdraw it.
recommendation to the board would be, well, or table it and ask him to come back with something, you know, a revised plan, and then decide if you're gonna withdraw this one at 31 feet and submit your 35-foot setback. I just don't, I think that right now it's a little too hard. Right now, again, what's before you is the 31 feet.
And then you have the
I think we
advantage,
still need the site plan.
you get the advantage of you know, hopefully having 5 board members as opposed to 3 where it's all or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So something else to consider.
is that acceptable if we table it for him to come back with a revised solution, though?
You can, but keep in mind, if he wants to then still continue at the 31 feet, the next meeting or whatever meeting, you will at some point have to vote on this,
Yeah.
unless he withdraws.
Brady, I'm sorry, can you clarify that then? So,
Any changes to this, I would have to withdraw the current application and reapply.
Well, I would, unless you're keeping them for that second request, which is again for the maximum, right, one building permitted, but I would think you'd have to revise your site plan. If you come back with a 35-foot setback instead of the 31st, I think we would need to know that, where it's located, what it looks like.
right, I agree on maybe a revised site plan, but are you saying that we'd have to re-advertise a whole new application for 35 foot instead of 31, or he amends this application?
It is a different application, unfortunately.
Okay.
Because I would love if we could just table it and you could come back and say, hey, I went and thought about it. The snow melted a little bit more, took some new measurements, you know. I would like to request a different, front yard setback. But you don't think we can do that?
No, I think you can, but I still think that it's gonna require a different notice, because it's a different request for a variance.
Okay, I don't know what that means either. That means,
That would be
Sending letters out to everybody.
starting the process over, whole new, new zoning permit, new denial, new variance application, new everything, new fees, everything.
but would he save the application fee?
No,
But so
nothing
now-
is refundable.
So now we're talking about 4 feet, and so is that significant?
I don't know if he was gonna come back with 35.
Right, but I mean, now we're talking,
Yeah.
I mean, again, we don't know what's possible. I mean, if we're comfortable with 35, I mean, is there, I mean, obviously 31 is not ideal,
I'm gonna ask a question to you, Bridie. If the applicant wanted to table it strictly for the fact that there's 3 members and not 5, is that a reason for him to table it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, what would you like for us to do? Go forward this evening and vote, or table it to come back when we have 5 board members?
I asked the question about tabling just due
Yeah.
to the fact of having to repay application, send everything out again, and start from scratch.
You would just come in back with the same application,
Mm-hmm.
with at least 5 members here to vote. And maybe some more pictures or whatever you want to bring, but the application would be the same
At this.
as this is. The only way to change the application, it sounds like, is to withdraw and reapply. And that's up to you also, that'd be the other option.
So I guess maybe now that I'm thinking this through, I mean, if he revised his site plan and came back with showing us different footage, I don't know that you would have to put out a different notice. I mean, it is a different, but we allow people to revise their applications to an extent while they're here. It's just we don't have it in front of us, and so that's, I think, part of the confusion. So I mean,
Yeah.
I suppose if you wanted to table it, or if the board wanted to table it, to ask that he bring back a revised plan, I suppose you can, but I mean, if at the end of the day he wants the 31 foot, then we go back to this
Do
application.
we go back to
Yeah.
this
Okay, I
application?
apologize, yes.
Okay.
We have allowed people to revise their plans right here, but the issue is we don't have this is measurements and
Correct.
things like that, so it's a little bit different.
So, it's up to you. I would suggest maybe get some more pictures. Think about what you really need that setback to be.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, the next week some of the snow melts, or we could vote tonight if you want us to vote, and we might add some stipulations, and we'll need your approval on adding those stipulations. What would you like to do?
I'm not opposed to tabling and coming back. I mean, with the weather as it is, I'm not in any rush to break ground for it. So
Okay.
I'm okay with tabling.
Okay. All right. So we're okay with that. If you are, we could table it, come back next month with
Sure.
any new information, but the variance application would be the same for now unless you decide to make any changes.
I
to
think
it.
he would be to come, if I'm going to make those changes, come with them prepared to present to everyone.
It'd be great to get them ahead of time.
Sure.
If you could, any
Yeah.
pictures, any different measurements. If you do put stakes out there, let Heather know, and maybe some of us might come by. Again, there'll be other board members here
Okay.
for the next meeting as well.
Do we move to table then?
I think let's do a motion to table it. I think that would be fine.
Okay. Could I get a motion to table variance 2026-187?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's been tabled to our next meeting.
Sure.
Thank you. We do have meeting minutes to approve, so one last item here, if we can.
There are none.
No, we don't. No, I don't. Okay, sorry, I lied. That's on the record, I lied. Okay, no, there are no meeting minutes to approve, so the Concord Township Board of Zoning Appeals for March 11, 2026 is now closed.